Hello, welcome to Research Methods. I'll be your instructor. My name is Devin Fell. Most of my students just call me Professor Fell. And so the purpose of this video is that we're going to go through the syllabus. So if you haven't had a chance yet to do that, go ahead and head to the home page, and then in the top module it says class resources, and on the top of that is the syllabus. So go ahead and open like an extra window to have that readily available, or print it out, or whatever you want to do. So you do need to have general psych or intro to psych completed as a prerequisite for this course, as well as statistics. And generally I don't allow any exceptions to that because you really need that information and the knowledge from those two classes to be able to perform well in this course. So make sure you've completed those. Generally it won't let you enroll in this course if you haven't, but you should be good. Okay, and then this course meets online asynchronously. So what that means is that we don't have any scheduled meetings. We do have assignments that are due weekly, and they are going to be due on Wednesdays and Saturdays for this class every week. You can work on them at your own pace, but they're going to be due the same times every week. So there's kind of a little format, like a little routine that we'll get into for the most part in this class. There's a lot of moving parts in this class, and it's kind of like you're working on 3 things at once all the time. It's a lot. So we need to be able to kind of get on some type of schedule or routine. Okay, and so my name is Devin Fell. I have a master's degree of science in industrial organizational psychology. And so I had no idea what IO psychology was when I started out in psychology, and I'm sure a lot of you have never heard of it either. It's gaining in popularity, but it is kind of thought of as like work psychology. So we help in industry and in organizations, so charitable and for-profit organizations, businesses, all of that. Generally, IO psychologists are hired as consultants, and we come in and help with things like employee morale and productivity, make sure the employees are being compensated well and treated fairly, which all then kind of in turn relates to having them have a higher morale and being more productive. So we basically just use, psychology principles and theories and models, classical conditioning, operant conditioning, these ones that you're familiar with, in conjunction with a bunch of others, to help us make sure that the employees and the employers are getting the best experience that they can working with one another. So I kind of fell into the field. I, like most students, or many students, had to work full-time while I went to school full-time, and so I had to find a job that was like had kind of flexible hours so that I could work nights and evenings and then go to school during the day. Yeah, many of you know. And so I worked in retail, and I worked for a large company, and I didn't really have the best experience. I didn't feel like a unique snowflake. I just kind of felt like another number, like another employee ID number. And I did not like that. I thought this isn't fair. Like, I'm giving you 40 hours of my life, and you're just giving me not a lot, a couple bucks an hour or whatever. And so that, coupled with the fact that while I was an undergraduate at Cal State San Bernardino, they had this sign on the wall that broke down how much each psychology concentration or each psychology field made annually. And the highest paid concentration in psychology was IO psychology. So when I saw that poster, plus my bad experience, I was like, this is the field I need to get into. And so I have done some consulting for large companies. Just to give you a brief story, to give you like a real life example of, one company I consulted for, which I'm not allowed to say their name, but they had to do with cell phones. They required their employees, their salespeople, to like hit certain quotas. And if they didn't hit those quotas, instead of, using operant conditioning principles that Skinner taught us, like, if you want to see a behavior happen more, you should reward it. And if you want to see a behavior happen less, you could use punishment, but punishment tends to just create other bad behaviors. So, using those principles, we were able to kind of teach this company, or I was able to teach this company that, you should reward workers and, focus on rewarding them for good behavior with things like recognition and money and time off and prizes, whatever. and that they would generally perform better that way, instead of doing what this company had been doing, which was to send out like email blasts about the salespeople that didn't hit their numbers, and they had to go to a meeting that was like an hour away from their house super early on Saturday mornings at like 4 a.m. and they had to stand up and explain why they weren't hitting their quotas. They were just doing horrible stuff to these people. And so, we were able to use these operant conditioning principles to teach the higher ups in the company how to get their employees to respond positively to them and be more motivated and more productive. Because when employees aren't happy, they're just like stealing stuff. They were stealing phones. They were stealing office supplies. They were going on leave because they were mad, just like all kinds of shady business. But when you treat people poorly and they can't pay their bills and stuff, that's kind of something that you have to grapple with. So we help organizations deal with those situations, and it's a fun job. I like consulting now because of things, in life like pandemics and recessions and stuff like that. I've mostly turned to teaching. And I actually kind of found out by accident as well that I love teaching. It's the best. So I do it a lot. I do it here. I do it, let's see, what colleges do I work at? I've taught at Cal State San Bernardino, Fullerton, Irvine, San Bernardino, Valley College, Chaffee College, Mount Sac. So I've kind of am and have been all over the place. Wherever they need me to teach, I go. And I teach a lot of classes. I teach human sexuality, intro to psych, developmental psych, stats, research methods, and the stats and research methods stuff I teach because of my master's in science and IO psychology. It's very, I had no idea when I signed up for it and got selected that it was going to be mostly stats classes and research methods classes. But it is, and luckily I ended up liking that because previously I had not been good at math, at all. But stats was kind of a different animal for me, and I really enjoyed it, and so luckily it all worked out, and now I am here teaching you research methods. Some of you have probably taken stats with me, so I'm glad to see you back, and so we're going to be using some of the stuff that we talked about in stats in this class for sure, so it'll be a nice crossover. But if you haven't had me before, don't worry, I'll make it comfortable for you as well, and hopefully not too unbearable. But this is a tough course. It's a 4-unit course. It's a 200 level course. Generally, when we're looking at 200 level courses, we're thinking that the student is going to be able to kind of manage themselves and take a lot of initiative and utilize their resources and be really self-sufficient. And so hopefully you'll be able to kind of rise to the challenge of that for this semester. I'm sure you will. Most students are able to succeed in this course. Okay, so anyways, I don't know why I moved on to just talk about the course. To finish about me, I guess I just can't stop talking about myself. Besides being an IO psychologist and teaching, my favorite sports team is the Chargers. I think that's a midterm question, so you need to know that. It's terrible being a Chargers fan. They always lose. Hoping for good things this year. We'll see. You never know. And I have 2 daughters, Shane and Ashton. I'll talk about them a lot. And my husband, Jason. But anyways, I'll talk about my family more throughout the semester. But, okay, so let's see. My email is the best way to contact me if you need to contact me. However, my Canvas is not syncing up right to my phone for some reason. So obviously I'll check Canvas, but you might get a much slower reply than if you email me directly through your student account. So please do that. Email me through your student account anytime. If you would like to meet me for virtual office hours, I'm going to be available Wednesdays from 4 to 5 live, and you can make an appointment with me. We can figure out the best medium to have our meeting on. I can do Zoom, Google Meet, Google Hangouts, whatever you want, FaceTime, we could figure it out. So you'll just email me for an appointment and we'll go from there. The Wednesdays from 4 to 5, I have to have a designated hour that I'm available for office hours. So I put that there, and I will be available during that time, but really I'm available anytime. So just email me and then we'll figure it out based on our schedule from there. And then the division phone number is on the syllabus in case you need to contact like the dean or the secretary of the division for any reason. And then the description talks about what we're going to be doing in this course. So I will let you read over that on your own, but essentially we're going to do original research on human participants, and then we're going to write up a paper about that research. That's the gist of the class. I am going to hand hold you through this. There is a format in which we must write in this class. It's APA format, so you'll be learning that. I'll be teaching you that step by step over the course of the semester. And then we will be doing research in accordance with the APA. And you have a lab coming up in your first week called the APA format lab, and that will tell you all about what the APA is and all of that. But there are certain steps that must be followed when doing research on human participants, and so I will be hand holding you and guiding you through that. Okay, so the required texts are on there. You will need the text. You will need to read the chapters. You will be tested on stuff that is not covered in lecture, so you need to make sure that you are reading the book. Some of the stuff will be in the book but not on lecture. Okay, and then required materials, you are going to need SPSS, which is the Statistical Program for Social Sciences. We use that in this course to analyze our data once we collect it. Generally, we are able to do that within 2 weeks, and I have a link within our course where you're able to get SPSS free for 2 weeks, so you can check it out there. But there's also other options on the SPSS page. It's also in that course resources module at the top of the homepage. But there's other options in there, so you don't have to worry about that today. As we get closer to working with SPSS, I'll be reminding you again, and then you can look on that page for the options that are available to you. But you will need to use it, and then you're going to need a PDF editor or Adobe. So there's a free link in the FAQ section of this course. Again, you can access it from the course resources at the top of the home module. It says FAQ page, and I have a free download for Adobe there. And then let's see, Excel we're going to use as well, or if you use numbers, that's fine. They work the same for the most part. Okay, and then college-wide core competencies and student learning outcomes you can read on your own, as well as the objectives. I want to get right into the instructor requirements on the second page here. So here we have makeup exams and late assignments. And so for this course, I'm going to accept late work for 1 week after the due date. And so anytime that it's turned in late, there will be a 10% point deduction per day that it is late, but it will be accepted up to a week after the due date. So late work will be accepted for 1 week, with the exception of the final module, because once the semester ends, I can't accept any more work. It's over. So everything has to be in by the last day of the semester. So late work will be accepted for 1 week following the original due date of the homework. Further extensions and or full points for late work may be allowed on a case-by-case basis at my discretion. So you're just going to have to communicate with me via email, best way to go. All work must be submitted on Canvas. I do not accept any work via email and or after the semester has ended. Okay, in terms of respectful behavior, so I'm on B now. This course requires all students to be tolerant, respectful, and sensitive to others. Inappropriate behavior, including acts of discrimination, inappropriate content, language, or otherwise will be addressed and will be reported to the appropriate SBVC administration. So I'm a psychologist. I care about people's feelings, and I'm sure you do too if you're in this class. So I just want to make sure that we're being respectful and professional. I like to encourage my students to consider their classmates as colleagues, like professional colleagues. That's going to be really important in this class because you are going to be providing feedback to one another about how your group is performing. You're going to be doing evaluations, and so it takes a skill to be able to kind of deliver critiques in a way that's not offensive to people. And so we just want to always make sure that we're, having a growth-minded approach to the course. We want to help each other to be the best that we can be. We don't want to, drag anyone. And then, let's see, for C, for the course format, Each week, content and coursework will be posted in modules, like I've been mentioning. So they're just these like little squares that have the work for the week. So make sure you pay attention to the course calendar that's on the syllabus, so you know when we're doing certain modules and when assignments are due. All right, where was I? Modules for each week will be available from Sunday at 12 a.m. until Saturday at 11:59 p.m. Students may log in anytime during the week, as many times as they like. However, students are required to log in a minimum of 2 days a week and meet assignment due dates. Students should work from the home page and move through the modules sequentially. So you don't really want to be working from like your notifications or your to-do list or your calendar on Canvas, because I don't set notifications for all assignments and all work. So if you do that, you might miss things. Okay, so each module is divvied up into 2 parts. Part 1 of each module is due Wednesday by 11:59 p.m. and Part 2 is due Saturday by 11:59 p.m. So generally, each module will require the student to participate in the following elements, not necessarily in this order. Watch the lecture video, take the lecture quiz, review the lab, complete the pre-work. In most cases, that will comprise part 1. However, some weeks we'll have an exam, so we might not do one of those. There's like another week where they're kind of in a different order for part 1. So you still have to pay attention, but just to give you kind of an overview of what to expect, generally we do those first 4 bullet points in part 1, and then we do the student assignment, group meeting, and group evaluation in part 2. What I'm suggesting that you do is on Sundays, you log in, you look at what's going to be due that week, like click on the assignments, read what the assignments are, and know what you have coming up so that you can kind of space out your workload for the week so you don't get overwhelmed. All right, so especially for the group work, you want to make sure that you check that out in advance. You're going to have to come to the group meetings with materials, and you're going to want to be prepared for the meeting. So make sure you check out all the assignments, like I said, the beginning of the week, so you know what you have coming up. Okay, and then for the grading, there are 1,000 points possible in this course. Each week there'll be a lecture quiz that totals 15 quizzes over the course of the semester. So you'll watch the lecture video and then you'll take the lecture quiz. It's kind of a check to make sure that you're like watching the lecture videos and also that you know you're paying attention and taking good notes. And it's the intention behind the quizzes is to kind of prepare you for the midterm and the final. And then there is pre-work, which are group meeting assignments, and there are 70 points possible across the entire semester. So it is imperative that each student attends group meetings prepared. Therefore, students will complete pre-work individually prior to the group meeting each week. There are 14 pre-work assignments, and each is worth up to 5 points each. So pre-work is not accepted late, and there are no alternative assignments. If you do not complete the pre-work on time, you will not be eligible or have access to the group meeting for the week. So it's very, very important that you complete your group work by Wednesdays at 11:59 p.m. In most cases, I think there might be one time where you get to turn it in on a Saturday. But for the majority of the class, pre-work is due on Wednesday, but it's always going to be due before the group meeting. So make sure that you are completing your pre-work in its entirety before you attend any group meetings. So the next set of assignments I have termed student assignments, mainly because they are to be completed individually, not as a group, by each student. They are worth up to 145 points possible. Originally, when I wrote the syllabus, I listed every single student assignment, and it basically breaks down to 1 a week. And I had detailed what each assignment was, and then my syllabus was like 20 pages. So instead, I just have this little blurb here that says student assignments include a range of activities, including reading articles and then taking quizzes about those articles, short, like 5-question multiple choice answer quizzes, responding to prompts, creating materials for the research project, writing rough drafts of the APA paper, doing SPSS assignments with the data we collect, And so there are 14 student assignments that are worth 10 points. And then there's one, it's the abstract rough draft, I believe, that's worth 5 points. So the student assignments are really going to help us to apply what we're learning in labs and in lecture to the real world. And they're also going to include these rough drafts for our APA paper. So the way the rough drafts are going to work is that you're going to turn in a rough draft of a section. In APA format, there's the title page, the intro, the method section, the discussion section, so on and so forth. So you're going to turn in a rough draft of the section that we're working on that week, and then I am going to go through your rough draft with a fine-tooth comb and tell you line by line the feedback that you would need to go ahead and make those edits based on the feedback that I give you, and then end up with a perfect paper. So if you write your rough draft on time and do your very best work, you're going to get the most comprehensive, detailed feedback possible from me. And then you'll just make all those edits that I tell you to make in that feedback. And then by the end of the semester, you'll have a rough draft for each section that you've edited to perfection, and you'll be able to just put those sections all together, and you'll have your final APA paper, which we'll talk about coming up. Group meetings are going to be worth up to 10 points each. Students are required to meet virtually with their group once a week. I know, it's not the best news ever, but it's like so important. There's no other way to do the class. There really isn't. I have just racked my brain. There's nothing else. You guys got to meet, and it's got to be face-to-face. So I'm so sorry. But like Zoom, Google Meets, FaceTime, whatever you guys want to do. In the first group meeting, it's called scheduling, but the purpose of it is really so you guys can like say hi and do a little icebreaker activity and kind of get to know each other. And then just you're going to just put in this first group meeting, it's going to be in a discussion, so you're just going to post the days of the week that you're available and the times, and then which method you prefer. If you have a strong if you don't care, like I don't care what method, so I would just probably say whatever method or whatever medium. But if you do care about the medium that we use to communicate with each other, like, if it's really important to you that it's FaceTime or whatever, you can put that there. And then I'll go back and look at everybody's responses and see if we can't figure out a time and way of doing these group meetings that works really well for everyone. So we'll figure it out, but just be really clear on when you're available so that we can schedule these meetings. And I am recommending that they are at the same time and day each week, so that it just makes it easier on everyone. But your group will be able to communicate with each other. So if you need to make adjustments and stuff, I'm flexible, and I just really ask that you guys be flexible too. One thing that is important to note is that group meetings will not be accepted late, because these things have to be done at a certain time if we're going to get through the project. And then you're going to turn in verification of your weekly meetings. They'll just be like a screenshot of your Zoom or whatever it is, so that I can see that the 6 of you or the 5 of you, however many are in the group, that you have all met together virtually face-to-face each week. So you'll be submitting that verification to Canvas. Okay, and so the final APA paper is worth up to 100 points possible. Students will be required to write one final paper independent of their group using APA format. Each paper will be worth up to 100 points. Throughout the course, we will conduct each step of the research process, and students will write sections of their paper as we cover them. So like I mentioned, you'll turn in your rough draft, I'll give you feedback, you'll make the edits, and then when it's time to turn in the final APA paper, you'll just put all those rough drafts together and you'll be good to go. Your edited rough drafts, I should say. Further information on APA style, scholarly journals, and assignment expectations will be provided on Canvas. So we will talk about that more later. And then you have your poster presentation. So when we are able to be together in person in the field of psychology, I know this is a social science class, but I always talk about psychology because I'm a psychologist. Forgive me. Sociology, anthropology. In all of these fields, when we are doing our research, one of the goals is to be able to publish your findings. You do your research, you write up your APA paper, just like we're going to do. You send it off to a publisher, you hope it gets published. If it does get published, often you're invited to these things called academic conferences, and students are also invited as well. You, as a student of this this class could present your research at a conference if you applied and were accepted. So generally, if you're a professional researcher, professional scientist, you write up your research paper, submit it to a publisher, it gets published in one of these scholarly journals that you're going to access on the database in the library. And then you get invited to go to a conference. And at the conference, people set up these big posters, and the posters have all this information about their research. And the posters even have an APA format. There's even a way the posters have to be presented. But, we're going to be doing this virtually, so we're not going to be doing kind of the classic posters. We're going to be doing our own like PowerPoint or Prezi type version of it. And so that will be done as a group. You'll make a video of your presentation. You won't meet together. You'll do your video section for your group, and then you'll send that to them. And someone in your group will have to edit them all together so that you can have one final video for your poster presentation. But it's not technically a poster, but it's like a riff off a poster. Okay, anyways, there'll be more information on that later. There'll be more information on all this, a lot of information. And then you have all these group evaluations. So as an IO psychologist, one thing that we're obsessed with is evaluations, surveys, questionnaires. Evaluations are important. They're important to help us know how we're doing with our performance so that we can make any necessary adjustments, or so that we can keep doing the things that we're doing right, so that we can be performing at our highest level. I wrote this whole thing on your first group evaluation explaining why we're doing them. So I hope you'll take the time to read that. I know that whenever someone is doing an evaluation of you, it can be scary, and your ego gets all in the way. Mine does, I don't want to hear the bad stuff. It hurts my feelings. I get that. But hopefully this is all going to be done in a way that really limits any, inappropriate or negative or overly harsh or any just cruel criticism will not be allowed. Okay, so don't worry. Hopefully everything's just really constructive and good feedback that you can use to help yourself be a better researcher, a better scientist, a better group member, a better critical thinker, all of that. So anyways, there's going to be these evaluations. There's weekly group evaluations where you'll just do a quick survey of all your group members. And then there's a final group evaluation, which is a little bit more in depth, where you could really let me know about the ongoings of your group, how things went. And then there's also going to be poster evaluations, which is where you, the individual student, will be evaluating other people's group projects. So at the end of the semester, we are going to be presenting on our research, virtually, of course. And so when everyone posts their videos, their groups post the videos, the other groups will watch them and then evaluate the presentations. Okay, so exams, there's going to be 2. There's a midterm and a final. There's 50 questions each, all multiple choice, worth 100 points. I tried to make them easy. You're able to use all your notes, all your course materials, PowerPoints, lecture videos, everything. The focus of this class for me as your instructor is really giving you the hands-on experience of doing research on human participants and then writing up a research paper about it and presenting on it. Because if you go further into the field of social science, whether you get your master's degree or your PhD, or even an undergrad, a bachelor's degree, you're going to be doing more of this. And some of you're going to be doing this for the rest of your lives. So I just really want to give you that real life hands-on experience in this class. So I kind of downplay the importance of the exams. You'll notice that they're only worth 200 points out of a 1,000-point course. So that's kind of cool. I want us to focus more on the research and writing the paper and that stuff. Okay, so we did it. We got through all those assignments. All right, so now we are on section B here at the bottom that says final course grades. So course grades are completely objective. They are based on the total number of points that you earn over the course of the semester. It is suggested that when you submit assignments, you save a copy. So if you are writing something up on Word, you want to save a copy of that, submit, the attachment to Canvas, but definitely hang on to the copy as well. Hang on to everything. Have a separate, digital folder for this class where you put all the work in it, or whatever. But you need to hang on to everything just in case there's like a glitch with Canvas, or something gets deleted on accident. Or, also just like in this class, you're going to have to be using the materials that you make all semester over and over and over again. So you'll need access to them anyways, and you'll want to have it just handy. There's also, if you check the FAQ page, there is a section that talks about how to use the what if feature in Canvas. So sometimes students will email me and say they would like me to tell them how many points they need to get in the course to get an A. They're like, I have 500 points now. There's this many assignments left. What do I need to do to get an A? That's what this feature on Canvas does. So it's called the What If feature. It's in the grade section. But to learn about it, check out the FAQ, and there'll be more information there. So anyways, back to this grading scale. It's just a straight up and down grading scale. If you get between 900 and 1,000 points, you get an A. If you get between 800 and 899 points, you get a B. 700 and 799, you get a C. 600 and 699, you get a D. And then anything under 599, you get an F. So those are the points that you're going for. One time I read this article that really stuck with me. I talk about it in every class. But I read this article that said students often, if they fail one assignment, they just think that they're going to fail everything, that they're going to, fail the assignment, they're going to fail the class, they're going to fail out of college, no one's ever going to hire them, or they're going to die alone. But I encourage you to not look at it that way. Just look at it as you're just trying to collect these points and put them in a bucket. That's all you're trying to do. So you just take the points you get. If you get a 25 out of 50, don't focus on the fact that that's an F. Focus on the fact that you got the 25 points. There's a lot of points available in this class, so just keep collecting them, and don't worry so much about individual assignments. Okay. So in terms of the attendance policy, the course policy we've already talked about. You need to log in 3 times a week and participate, do work. And then students that miss 4 or more group meetings may be dropped from the course. Your group meetings are so important to your success and your group success in this course. So it's important that you are an active, engaged, participatory member of the group, that your contributions are productive and helpful. And so you have to try to attend every group meeting. But if anyone misses 4 group meetings, I'm going to have to drop you, because you're just not going to be helpful to your group. At that point, you're probably going to be more of a hindrance. So keep that in mind. Okay, and then the college policy is there. The cheating policy. If you cheat, I'll probably catch you, because Canvas, it has a feature where it checks for plagiarism, and that will be on. So if you are plagiarizing, or I'm suspecting you of plagiarizing, I will let you know, depending on the severity of the situation. If it's clear that you just lifted an entire, a section off of someone else's paper or something like that, then, that will probably be the end of your time in my class. And I would have to report you to the dean. I take cheating real seriously. I don't like it. I didn't cheat. I don't think you should cheat. I think you should learn the information, because, what kind of society, what kind of world would we live in, If if you found out your doctor that you go to get life-saving treatments for, what if your doctor told you that they cheated their way through medical school? That would be terrible. You wouldn't want that doctor, right? So all of us that are getting degrees out here, we got to be doing the work, so that, we can be legitimate members of society that actually know what we're doing and are helpful. Okay, so don't cheat. You won't. And then ADA accommodations. If you need any accommodations whatsoever, let me know. I will be more than happy to provide them to you. I send students to DSPS frequently for test anxiety, especially in my statistics class. That's often kind of an issue. And so I work with them regularly. We have a great relationship. So anything you need whatsoever, let me know. If you think that you might have a disability that would need accommodations, or you just feel like you want to get tested for a disability, a learning disability, or anything like that, you can contact them. Their contact information is on the syllabus. They're awesome. So definitely reach out if you have any questions or concerns. And then the Writing Center information is on here. It's definitely going to be effective in helping you. I also have a tutor available for this course. So you can go to the help Q&A forum on the course resources module to learn more about tutoring options that are available to you as well. The library is available to you. You are going to be accessing the library's homepage to complete your library assignment, and there you'll find the contact information for them and their hours. They have 24/7 chat available, so all kinds of cool stuff. Definitely reach out for help. This semester, APA format is hard, and it's normally new to most of my students, and most of my students require additional assistance, require tutoring for this course. So be prepared to reach out for help. I know I was never really good at that as a student until I got to stats and research methods, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna need some help with this. So don't feel weird about it at all. It's totally normal. Most students go to tutoring for this class. Okay, so then if you need any help with planning your career or planning your curriculum, you can contact the counselors. They also help with problems such as drug and alcohol dependency, but I would encourage you to check out student health services if you're having any issues whatsoever with addiction, or if you're having any issues regarding mental health, anxiety, stress, physical issues. You can also contact student health services. When you sign up for to be a student here, you get free therapy, which is like, wish I could get free therapy. My therapist is like $100 an hour. But anyways, you could get free therapy. You don't have to go to therapy if you're like depressed. You can go to therapy just if you want to talk to somebody, you know. I go to therapy because I want to become self-actualized, like Abraham Maslow talks about. I want to be like the best version of myself. And so I go to therapy and talk about all kinds of stuff. I've gone to therapy for career advice. I've gone to therapy for, help with being more assertive. That was good. Because like my friends would ask me to help them move, and I'd have like 50 things to do, and I'd just say okay for some reason. But I've learned boundaries. Therapy taught me that. So you can go for any reason. I highly recommend it. If I was the president of this country, I would mandate that every citizen goes to therapy. It's the best. And it's good. It's good to grow. You know, personal growth is important, especially if you plan on becoming a psychologist. Then definitely you should go to therapy, because you should like get familiar with the process and get familiar with introspection and all of that stuff. It's really good. But anyways, for the help desk, you are going to want to contact them with any technical matters, so like email, Canvas issues, but they also can help you with like program stuff sometimes. So if you're having a problem working Excel, or having a problem with Word or Adobe or whatever, you can contact them. If you're having trouble accessing an assignment or something, let me know. I might have a setting off. I might have locked it prematurely when it shouldn't be locked or whatever. So if you can't access assignments, let me know that. But if you're having problems working things, I don't normally know how to fix that. So contact the help desk. Their phone number is on the syllabus, and they're available 24/7. Oh, the explicit material section, so I have to put this on here. I try not to cuss too much. I definitely don't say the F word, but sometimes I do say shit. But I read a study that it gets people's attention. So if you tune out, it'll help you get tuned back in. So that's good. But I try not to, say anything too crazy. And, I do talk about research a lot. And I sometimes forget that sometimes I'm talking about things that are like uncomfortable for people. I teach human sexuality. So I talk about like sex and masturbation and drugs, and just like it's, normal. Sometimes I forget to just like put up a warning. So I guess know that about me, and know that, sometimes explicit material might be discussed in like with a scientific approach, and looking at it from a learning standpoint. But I do share, studies about human sexuality and stuff. So anyways, that's you can read over the section on explicit material for more information there. and division office. All that information is there. And then finally we made it to the course calendar. So the course calendar is so important. I would, print it out and have it just by your computer. Have it right there in the front of your notebook so that you can easily access it, so you know what we're doing each week. It tells you the weeks and then the dates that we're covering that week, and then the topics that we'll be covering, the reading you should do, and then the assignments that we're doing that week. So this is like your game plan. Okay, I think that's everything I have. I can't really think of much else to say. I want you to succeed. It is going to be a lot of work. You're not going to be able to phone it in, I'll be honest with you. So just, be prepared for that and be flexible, be open-minded. I'm here to help you. Definitely email me through your student email with any questions, anytime. And it's going to be fun. People really like this class. You just got to kind of get into it. Don't resist. Just get into it. So go ahead and get started with the work that is assigned to you for week 1. And I'm glad you're in the class. Good to have you here. Hopefully I will get to communicate with you like person to person throughout the course of the semester. Don't hesitate to email me. I'm here for you. Okay? All right. Have a great day. Get started.